Dun 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 dun, and finally, it's a trailer. Let's get right into it. Alright, HBO logo, Hussein Barack Obama. Now the first shot is of Cersei walking into her war room. We see later in the trailer that there's basically a map of Westeros that has been painted on the floor, and it looks epic.
Enemies to the east.
Which means that Daenerys and her army have probably landed at Dragonstone. Dragonstone was the ancestral seat of House Targaryen. The heir to the Iron Throne would hold that seat until he came into his throne. And Dragonstone is also where Aegon landed 300 years ago when he started his conquest of Westeros. Obviously, Daenerys and Aegon have a lot in common. The three dragons, the conquering of Westeros, so it makes sense that history is kind of repeating itself. The Dragonstone used to be held by Stannis Baratheon, but since he died in Season 5, it's been more or less unoccupied. So it makes sense that Daenerys would choose this as her HQ.
Enemies to the west.
Now, this is interesting because Cersei says enemies to the west, which would be the Iron Islands. On this ship, we can see the Kraken on the flag, which is the sigil of House Greyjoy. Now, is she talking about Yara and Theon, or is she talking about Euron? We know that Yara and Theon have aligned with Daenerys, but Euron is the occupier of the Iron Islands at the moment. A lot of fans have been speculating, saying that in order for Cersei to survive, she's going to have to form an alliance with Euron. And Euron is a character, I don't know how much they can flesh him out moving forward. There's only 13 episodes left, so I don't see Euron getting out of Season 7, and I also don't see Cersei getting out of Season 7.
Enemies to the south.
Enemies to the south is probably in reference to House Martell, and then we get a shot of somebody sharpening a spear. And it also could be House Tyrell, which is basically to the southwest of King's Landing.
Enemies to the north.
Enemies to the north, and then we get a shot of Arya. Now, I don't think Arya and Cersei are going to cross paths in Season 7 because Cersei was on her kill list, but I think Arya is going north. She says at the end of Season 6, I am Arya Stark of Winterfell and I am going home. So I think this could also be a double entendre. You have enemies in the north, which could be the Starks, but you also have the White Walkers and the Night's King. I don't see Jon and Cersei crossing paths in Season 7. It's almost like Jon is in a completely different world. For most of the show, he has avoided the politics. The most politics he got involved with was the Battle of the Bastards, taking back Winterfell from Ramsay. But I don't see a confrontation between the Starks and the Lannisters, and I don't think Cersei is ever going to come face to face with a White or a White Walker. Her battle is in the South, and the South will also be her demise. Now this is the shot of the war room with the painted map. You see Jaime on the right helping Cersei with her battle plans. Cersei's biggest flaw is her hubris. She thinks that she can defeat anybody in her path, and it has helped her in the past, but it will always be her biggest weakness. There's no way that she is going to defeat Daenerys. The Lannister army looks great. You see the sigil of House Lannister on their shields, the Golden Lion. And then you get the throne room and you see some Lannister men there as well. So I think Cersei has split her army between Casterly Rock and King's Landing, but I think she's going to focus her troops on King's Landing because that's what you really have to protect. It's all about the Iron Throne. It's all about the idea of who has that shadow and that trick of power. And then in this shot, you also see Jaime by her side. I don't know if he's acting as the hand of the king. I think Qyburn might be the hand of the king. You also get the mountain there on the left. So at this point, Jaime is still on her side. We haven't seen them interact on screen after Cersei blew up the Sept, but I think Jaime is going to have a problem with that, and I'm looking forward to that first on-screen conversation when Jaime confronts Cersei about what she did at the end of Season 6. You see the look on his face. Jaime is a realist. For all his flaws, for all the bad things that he has done, I think he understands their predicament and how they really have no chance to defeat Daenerys' army. We've all heard about the prophecy dozens of times that Robert would have 20 children, Cersei would only have 3, and then eventually a younger, more beautiful queen will come and take everything that you love, and the Valonqar will choke the life out of you. Everybody thought that it was going to be Tyrion. Now people have shifted and think it's going to be Jaime. Jaime killed the Mad King because he was going to do something that Cersei did, use wildfire and kill innocent people. If they brush over that, I think it would be a mistake. I think we can expect a confrontation between Jaime and Cersei in Season 7.
The last ones who count.
Well, obviously you're not the last Lannisters who count, because the best Lannister is Tyrion Lannister. Now the backdrop of this shot is Dragonstone, and then we see the 3 dragons rise up, and they look like fucking monsters. They've really grown. This is where Daenerys Varys, Tyrion, this is where they're going to spend their time. This is where they're going to plan their attack at Dragonstone. And Dragonstone really looks beautiful. We never really saw it during the day. We see it when Melisandre and Stannis burn the gods, but it really is stunning, and it's a beautiful castle. And then we get a shot of the Dragonstone gates opening for Daenerys. In the top of the screen, we can see the Targaryen sigil, the 3 heads, and to Daenerys' right, we can see a dragon statue. Now, Daenerys has a look of relief on her face. It's finally coming to fruition. She has been waiting years to come to Westeros to conquer, and she also has a look of nostalgia on her face. I know she can't remember living in Westeros. She fled when she was a baby, but she's lived her entire life as a refugee in exile, and this is what she's been told, that this is her birthright. She belongs here. This is her home. Grey Worm to her left, and then you can see Varys' shoulder to her right. These are 2 characters that have never talked on screen. We know that Varys is supporting Daenerys, and Daenerys was initially skeptical of Varys when she first meets Tyrion, and then Tyrion tells her that Varys is the one person who has kept her alive. It's hard to tell what Varys' motivations are. Is he really supporting Daenerys, or does he have some other plan? I think, like Littlefinger, that his personal arc is coming to an end.
The 7 kingdoms. And I will.
Daenerys' new throne room at Dragonstone. I think that this throne could be made of dragon glass. We know that there's a lot of dragon glass at Dragonstone. Stannis tells this to Davos in, I think, season 4 or 5. And dragon glass is the weapon that Jon and his army are going to need to fight the White Walkers. It's one of the 2 things that can kill them, Valyrian steel swords and dragon glass. So that would be really cool if that was like a dragon glass throne and they have to mine the throne in order to make more weapons. There's been theories that they're going to melt down the Iron Throne and use those swords to fight the White Walkers because the chair was forged using the fire of Balerion the Black Dread. Now, this is the first on-screen look of Casterly Rock. I don't think any character has been to Casterly Rock in the show or the books. It's been mentioned by Tywin, and we know that this is the ancestral seat of House Lannister. We could see the Unsullied storming the castle, and then one of them kills a Lannister soldier. It makes sense that they would want to cut off Casterly Rock from King's Landing. That's what Robb wanted to do in Season 3. He said if we take Casterly Rock, they'll have nowhere to retreat to. So I think we can expect 2 major battles in the south, one for Casterly Rock and the other for King's Landing. Then we get Jon talking to his liege lords. I thought maybe this was a flashback to Season 6, but you can see Brienne in this scene. You see Sansa still on Jon's side, and then you see Davos to his left. I'm pretty sure Jon is going to name Davos the Hand of the King, which would be a smart decision. Davos is one of the most honorable characters in the show, besides Jon and Ned. And Davos is the reason that he's alive. He's helped take back Winterfell. He's helped him convince other people to take his side. And also in this shot, you can see Tormund right there, and you can see Littlefinger to the left, still leaning on the wall, still plotting. And in this next shot, you see him whispering, planting the seeds of treachery in Sansa's head. I don't see Sansa betraying Jon. It doesn't make sense. Game of Thrones started out as a political drama, the backstabbing, the plotting, the scheming, the maneuvering, but now it's becoming more Lord of the Rings. It's about the battle between the living and the dead, good versus evil. Littlefinger is one of the major characters that I think will die in Season 7, along with Cersei and Euron. It's kind of sad to think about a Game of Thrones without Littlefinger because he's evil, he's pure evil, but he's such a good character, and Aidan Gillen is such a great actor, so. There's a couple shots in this trailer where we can see wildlings north of the wall. Obviously here the wall is opening. This is probably the Night Watch bringing some of those wildlings south. Or it could be Bran passing under the wall. At the end of Season 6, he arrives at the wall, but he doesn't pass under it. There's also a couple of shots in this trailer where we see wildlings north of the wall. I don't know how many wildling tribes are left. Tens of thousands of them died at Hardhome because they were too stubborn to go with the Night's Watch. And we also see Jon, Tormund, and a couple of Jon's men north of the wall, and they're running away from something. So I don't know if they were scouting the army of the dead. There was a Season 7 plot leak that said they would have to travel north of the wall, kidnap a White Walker to prove to Daenerys that the White Walkers are the real threat, which kind of sounds a little silly and far-fetched. There's going to be some action north of the wall. This is it. Winter is here, winter is coming, and I think there's going to be more action north of the wall in Season 8, but we will see Walkers and the Night's King in Season 7. That's a guarantee. Yeah, I have no idea where Theon is right now. It looks like he could be north because that's snow, right? It's snowing. I don't think he's on a ship. This scene kind of visually looks like the other scenes with the battle on the sea. Theon is going to be one of the naval commanders, I'm assuming, for Daenerys' army, because that's what the Greyjoys are born to do. They grow up learning and mastering naval warfare, but it looks like he could be in the north here.
Best hope against the coming.
Melisandre looks like she is at Dragonstone. Now, there were a couple of set photos that leaked with Daenerys, Tyrion, and Varys walking on this wall, approaching a meeting with Jon. It looks like there's going to be a reunion with Melisandre and Jon, and Melisandre's going to be like, hey, you came to me, you can't hang me, I'm south. It makes sense for Melisandre to seek out Daenerys. Regardless of what you think about Melisandre, I do think she has a role to play in the upcoming war against the dead. It's hard to say how many wildling tribes are left. There can't be that many, so this could be reminiscent of the Season 1 cold opening where we see the Night's Watch Rangers get attacked by the White Walkers. So this could be the wildlings fleeing the walkers. You get a shot of Arya. She's north. She's on her own. She jacks a horse. Now, we don't see Bran in this trailer, so I think maybe Arya and Bran could run into each other. People have been holding out. They want Nymeria and the Wolf Pack to show up. Arya's going to have a couple of reunions that are going to be very interesting to watch. Reunion with the Hound, with Bran, with Jon, with Sansa, hopefully. Now, this looks like the same group of wildlings from the earlier shot. Now, they're all backing into each other. It looks like something is approaching them. This looks like some Walker action.
Our enmities, and bound together we will die.
Then we get Littlefinger. It looks like he's peeping on somebody, honestly. look at that creepy face, man. I love Littlefinger, so I personally want Littlefinger to sit on the Iron Throne. He always says he'll be the King of Ashes, so maybe he'll slip down south and take the throne while nobody's looking. Now, this is the best action scene of the trailer. The Dothraki jumping off of a horse in the middle of battle. It's so epic. And there's a shot at the end of the trailer that is probably the same battle. I think this is going to be the attack on Casterly Rock, where they're going to invade from the sea with the Unsullied. And then to meet the Dothraki in open field it's not very wise, and especially when you got Daenerys backing them up with the dragon. This is also reminiscent of the Field of Fire, when Aegon went to battle against King Loren Lannister and King Mern Gardner, where the Gardners and the Lannisters formed an army of 60,000 men. The Targaryens were outnumbered 5-1, but Aegon and his dragon Balerion burned their entire army. That's why it's called the Field of Fire. This was, once again, history repeating itself. I think this is the battle for King's Landing. Obviously, they're on a ship and the ship is burning, so the fire can only be coming from one place, a dragon. Like Season 2, it's going to be another battle at the Blackwater. Probably towards the end of the season. The climactic battle in Season 7 I don't think is going to be between the Walkers and the North. I think it's going to be for King's Landing. Here we have a shot of Davos, followed by a shot of Daenerys and Tyrion in their war room at Dragonstone. Now, I think what Davos says here is, unless we band together, it doesn't matter whose skeleton sits on the Iron Throne. I think Davos is addressing Daenerys and Tyrion here, because that's what Davos does. He's the Henry Clay of Westeros. He's the great negotiator. He convinces the Iron Bank to support Stannis. He convinces Lady Mormont to give her 11 Mormon soldiers to Jon. And Liam Cunningham, so underrated. Every time this man gives a speech in this show, goosebumps. Clegane Bowl? Probably never going to happen. Now this shot, I think this is the same battle that we saw previously with the ship, the battle at the Blackwater Bay. I can't really identify any of the characters in this shot. It looks like they're just nameless, faceless soldiers. Well, we knew this was going to happen. I mean, if there's one character in Westeros who can deduce Jon's parents, it would be Littlefinger. I highly doubt that he knows who Jon's parents are. We see Lyanna Stark's tomb behind Jon and Littlefinger. But what's interesting is, in Season 5, when Littlefinger and Sansa are in the crypts, Littlefinger says to Sansa,
How many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt?
So maybe he has put the pieces together. I don't know if he's going to use this to threaten Jon, say, hey, you have no claim to the North, you should be the ruler of the Iron Throne. Or maybe this is Jon finally realizing, I have to take this guy out. He's trying to get Sansa to turn against me, to usurp the throne. And Jon has great instincts. He knew to trust Mance Rayder. He knew to trust Davos. So it's not going to take long for Jon to figure out Littlefinger. Jon is better than Ned at playing the game. So this also could be Jon figuring out what Littlefinger did to Ned. The Unsullied are absolutely overwhelming the Lannister men. The Unsullied, more or less, have been kind of useless in the show so far. They have this world-renowned reputation as these great warriors, except if they're going against rich dudes with masks. I think this is going to be one of the three great battles: the storming of Casterly Rock, the battle at Blackwater Bay, and the Dothraki versus the Lannister men in open field. Arya looking for the boogeyman. I don't know if these two shots are connected because this hand, at first, if you've read the books, it reminded me of Victorian Greyjoy, Euron and Balon's younger brother, who's got the burnt magic hand. But this is probably Jorah, and I don't think he found a cure. That is just disgusting, man. Just cut the arm off. Once again, the battle in the open field between the Dothraki and the Lannisters. I am so excited to see the Dothraki in full battle mode. That is going to be awesome. Jon and Tormund and a couple of Jon's men north of the Wall. Now, once again, that Season 7 plot leak that they had to kidnap a White Walker to prove to Daenerys, that just kind of sounds stupid to me. I think maybe they were scouting the army, maybe they're looking for some sort of weapon, maybe they're looking for Bran, or they hear reports of Benjen, but it's encouraging to see them north of the Wall, because this is where the real action is. I don't know what's gonna happen here. My man No Balls ain't got no penis. Can't really see an alliance coming out of this. Maybe they're just bored and having fun. Listen, Yara is cool. She's a great naval commander. Alaria Sand and the Sand Snakes, whatever, man. I guess it will be cool to see Tyrion find out that she killed his niece, so maybe they can turn on the Martells. You know, seeing these two characters doesn't really do anything for me. Tyrion at the War Room in Dragonstone knocking over the lion. Now, I don't know if this symbolizes that the Lannisters are off the board, if this is towards the end of the season where they have taken King's Landing, where Cersei is dead, they have defeated the Lannisters, or it could just be Tyrion foreshadowing what they are going to do. Battle at sea, and I'm pretty sure that's Dragonfire. I've probably said 3 different shots with the best shot of the trailer, but I forgot. This is the best shot of the trailer. Once again, it's the Field of Fire 2.0. You have Daenerys on the back of her dragon. You have the Dothraki horde charging it to battle against the Lannister men. It doesn't get better than this. This is what we've been waiting for since the dragons first hatched. To see Drogon, Balerion the Black Dread 2.0 in battle, Daenerys Targaryen, Aegon Targaryen 2.0 in battle. This is what we've been waiting for. And Just imagine, we're gonna get this versus the White Walkers in Season 8. This is just the fucking appetizer. Winter is not even here yet. Winter is still coming. Winter might be here, but it's really not here. We still have to wait for Season 8.
The Great War is here.
Alright guys, thank you for watching. I'm so excited for Season 7. I couldn't believe that the trailer dropped today. It caught me off guard. I was like, oh my god, I have to do a video. We're still working on our Part 3 Game of Thrones preview, so that should be dropping May 30th, so be on the lookout for that. We're talking about the side characters, some characters that we didn't get to cover. And yeah, Valar, Mar, subscribe. All men must subscribe. Alright, I'll see myself out.